Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. All members are present. Approval of the agenda. We have, doesn't look like we have any changes, or do we?
You said updated 7F, if that were in favor.
7F, okay. Just an updated. Any council have any changes?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Joe, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the December 7th, 2022 regular meeting. All received them in your packet. Is there any questions, comments, changes needed within those minutes? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 7th meeting?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, second.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm gonna abstain.
You're going to abstain? Okay. 4 in favor, none against, 1 abstention. Then brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Come up to the podium, state your name.
My name is Roman Malaka. My wife and I live on 242 Hendrick Street, Sauk Center, Minnesota, zip code 56378. I was reading in the Herald last week, and there were issues brought up about the police department, and that's the issue I would like to just present my opinion about some things.
Sure.
And just to know who I am, my wife and I have lived here for 1.5 years now. Previous to that, we were living in Hawaii for 8.5 years. Currently, our grandchildren run the business in near Westport, Minnesota. And my wife and I built a mini hotel in Hawaii. And we dealt with druggies, alcoholics, liars, like you would not believe. We dealt with the police department, which was okay with some of them, but not like it is here. And I just would hate to see the budget at all cut for the police department. In fact, it should be expanded with the industrial park being built and that property behind us being expanded possibly within the next few years. And then Felling down there also, they have a lot of ground to cover. And what my wife and I like about the police department here, the exposure. All of a sudden you'll see one sitting here, one there. And with the drug situation and the illegal aliens coming into this country, I mean, you've got the interstate north and east and west. You've got 71 north and south. You've got 11 coming out of right by my place there. And then you've got another one coming out of Osakis, and drug runners like that. And if you have a lot of exposure with the police department, I know everybody is faced with a tight budget. You as a homeowner are also, but not there. Don't cut there, expand.
Okay.
Just for everyone's protection. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Scott Kowski, down here representing the American Legion Post here in town. Trying to get to the bottom of the assessment on Park Road there and with what the Legion's responsible and what they're not responsible for. I've done a lot of research, and we're being assessed for the resurfacing of Park Road. However, the Legion does not own property up to that road, and there is no platted road right-of-way for Park Road. It is a lot and block that the city owns, and there is 50 feet between our parking lot on the north end where our property line ends and the edge of the road. And that is a lot and block that is owned by the city, but yet we're being assessed for that improvement on Park Road. So we do not own property up to the road right-of-way because there is not one. And we do not own property up to the edge of the road, which is a city. So with discussion with our board at the Legion, we feel we should not be responsible for any of that assessment on Park Road because we do not maintain any of that in between our parking lot and the road right-of-way or the road itself. And plus that is a lot block that the city owns. So I'm here to petition the council. There was a finance committee meeting last Thursday, I believe, that they said they would assess it as a corner lot. But even though it is on the corner of the road, we do not own property up to that. So I come to you tonight as part of the Legion as the commander to state our case on that and ask that you guys reconsider the assessment for that because I don't know exactly how assessments work, but I know you have to own property adjacent to that road right away or that improvement, which the Legion does not. So I bring that to you tonight. I hope you guys make the decision, the right decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council? Once we go into the regular meeting, then there won't be any comments. Oh, yep.
My name's Jason Hoffman. I work for C&L Excavating, project manager for C&L Excavating. We were the general contractor on the reconstruction project this summer. And we were assessed 4 days of noncompliance charges for being late on phase 3, which was the reclamation improvements on Park Road. Just requesting that that noncompliance charge be reduced to 2 days. We had some delays due to weather and understand that we were still late, not trying to say we shouldn't be assessed any days, but just requesting that charge be reduced from 4 days to 2 days. We had a rain day on Friday, September 9th, and another rain day on Saturday, September 24th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council? Call a third time. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council? Our public open forum is now closed. We do not have any public hearings. We'll move on to reports and presentations. Brian, Police Department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Activity report for November 2022. Some of the numbers we had. We had 28 door checks we did. We had 154 traffic stops. We did 64 foot patrols, 46 patrols at the school. We took care of 9 gas no pays. Parking tickets, we did 13 of those so far. We had 10 accidents, 19 medicals, 17 assists for persons, 14 alarms, 10 welfare checks, 27 assists for other agencies, 8 assists for businesses, 14 citations for no Minnesota driver's license, 12 citations for driving after revocation and suspension. So compared to 2021, we're up 38 calls, and compared to October, we're down 44 calls. Otherwise, been working on the winter parking. I think we prepped them with our guys who are out there giving a lot of the warning cards. I think we're being very nice and gave everyone adequate time with the warning cards and putting those on. And I think then finally we started doing the ticketing, and I don't even know if we've really been towing that many. So mostly tickets, but I think recently now we started towing, so. And I don't think the numbers have been that high, sounds like just a handful here and there, so it's pretty good so far, I guess, with the towing. Ben, I don't know, been pretty good on the street? Yeah. So, otherwise, I think that's going pretty smooth.
Okay. Council have any questions?
Chief, with 26 people with no valid driver's license in the last month, is there any way we can get these people off the street permanently? I mean, if they hit somebody,
Exactly,
your insurance has to pay for them, for their
Yeah.
negligence, and that,
exactly.
take their car away from them or something.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
talked to our legislature.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Thank you, Chief.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
6B, Public Works Department, Ben?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Over the past month, snow plowing and removal has filled the majority of our schedule. We've done some minor equipment maintenance after snow removal was completed. Christmas lights were installed in the park and on the streets. We have been working on the outdoor rink. The plan is to be operational by the weekend. The snowstorm slowed us down today, but I still think we'll make that, having it open by the weekend. The weather really wasn't conducive this month until Monday to get going on that. But as far as the seasonal position there, we have advertised for that for probably 5 weeks now. No one has applied for that seasonal position. Dennis has been with us for, I think, 8 to 10 years, and he's gonna work weekends again down there this winter, but we still don't have anybody to work any weekdays, so that'll just remain as it has in the past. The doors will be open, but no one's gonna be staffing it during the week. Dennis typically works Friday evenings, and then Saturday and Sunday he'll do an 8-hour shift down there, just keep the ice clean and rent out skates and help people if needed. So that's our plan for this year again. At our main public works shop, our 75-year-old heater finally gave out on us, and we did install a replacement for that. We kind of expected to have that happen, so we did have some money in the budget for that. At the arena, a few of the extra time slots we had rented to Alexandria had to be canceled, but we did get to bill out 12 hours of rental ice time in December, and that is above and beyond what the Hockey Association and the school have rented from us. And then we do have some open skate coming up next week from 12 to 5, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for anybody that wants to go up there for that. And then we did have some weather cancellations that took place last week. The only other thing we did, library, we had some minor maintenance items that got taken care of this past month up there. But other than that, any questions I can answer?
Questions? Comments?
Good job on the road, Ben.
Last week was a bit of a challenge with
Oh, I'm sure it was.
compaction and
It's a lot of
it
snow.
getting
Yeah.
cold fast, so.
Thank
I've
you.
had a lot of
Thank you.
compliments as far as how the street has been clean, and there's a lot of people really liking the fact that there's not those bump outs because we plowed around somebody and it froze down, so
Yeah, that would have been ugly for sure.
the
Yep.
whole street looks really nice, so
Yeah,
good job.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning Commission report, Sarah?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet, you have a copy of the agenda from our December 13th Planning Commission meeting. We didn't have any public hearings. I just have a building permit report. For November, we issued 12 permits with a total valuation of $247,000. A year ago in November, we issued 17 permits with a total valuation of $931,000. There's a copy of the list of building permits in the packet for you. I don't have any questions for me.
Questions? I'll just do a recap. There's 2 items on the agenda that you see that the Planning Commission handled. Those are for people that did restoration without a permit. And Sarah had sent them letters telling them they were in violation, and they appealed it. There is fines, the $100 a day fine from the time they got the letter up until we had the meeting being imposed. And it will start again once they can start doing dirt work. They restore everything up until they're done. So the Planning Commission decided we're done with these people that are not going to get permits. and we're finding them and making restoration happening. So just a recap, so in case you hear anything on the street, and this dollar figure is pretty substantial, and it's only going to get bigger. So just so the council knows, and then the public knows, they hear out in the street, get a permit because it's going to cost you money. So, any other questions or comments? Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
City engineer report?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Staying up. I guess we'll go like that. So, as Sarah was mentioning, and Mayor, as you were just talking about, I've been working with staff as it relates to a couple of those some property issues on Lake Ridge out there. So those are deed restriction, conservation easement related issues. So we're working through those and hopefully come to a satisfactory resolution on those in the near term. As you can imagine with the weather, the construction's really not going on any longer. However, with that being said, the South Industrial Park, the lift station, is still not operational at this point. We do have a customer that will probably be coming online here in another about 2 weeks, week and a half, 2 weeks. Contractor has been notified that they're responsible for that, sewage that's going to be coming down through there. I'm not expecting any real big issues with that because they won't generate a lot of water and we have a lot of storage capacity. But I was been hounding them for a while now, and I finally got information today that they will be out there the week of January 9th to do some repairs on valves that I mentioned before that were cracked and broken. They'll be repairing those and hopefully doing the rest of it and be able to have a startup shortly thereafter. So hopefully we'll get it done, and that will be it for, at least for the winter, though we're halfway through it by the time that'll get done. But so that's where that one's at. Let's see, other than that, on the Aerosmith project, we are just doing some cleanup of that project just to get it finalized and get that taken care of, just paperwork kind of things to get that done. I know Chuck will be talking a little bit about with the 2022 capital improvement project here shortly, so I'll let him kind of fill you in on a little bit there and the issues that we have before us tonight. Let's see, also on the Meyer parcel, so the author's edition up there, the preliminary plat has been submitted for staff review, and also that has gone out to DNR and the county and those people. So we're working through that with the preliminary plat. The intention is that the preliminary plat and the final plat will go together to the Planning Commission on, 18th is the 10th is the Planning Commission, 18th then would be come back to the council for that. The final plat would be the first phase, which is kind of the loop area in between Hendricks and what we are currently calling Park Rise. That name might change, but there's about 22 lots in there, so that's where that one's going. Vicki and I were talking about, just from a scheduling perspective, about whether, how the council felt about wanting to move forward with that project as it relates to plans and specifications. We could begin to move forward with those sort of at a dual track with the platting, if that was something the council wished to consider. But we would be able to do that. We'd be able to move it forward quickly so that we could get into a favorable bidding environment if you believe that's your desire to move forward. So just something I'd like to put forward to the council to think about, and whether you want to consider doing that. But that's something it would probably be advantageous if you do have a pretty good strong inkling that you want to move forward. I provide some preliminary estimates on what that first phase would be to Vicki, so she can kind of look through funding and those kinds of things, and certainly you can ask her those kinds of questions. That's not my area, so so think about those things. That's really about all I have for tonight, so any questions that you might have?
Okay, that lift station on South Industrial Park?
Yep.
Is that falling into past their process or date that they're supposed to be?
It's beyond their liquidated, it's beyond their substantial completion. So liquidated damages is something that we could consider. Really, there's nothing going on out there at the moment, so I'm not sure I would recommend that we go that route. Certainly that they have to take care of any sewage that's coming down through the system. That's all on their dime. We're not gonna go out there with pumper trucks or anything of that nature. That's all on their dime to take care of that, and they've been told that very clearly. So we can discuss that in greater detail, but I'm not sure I would recommend it just because there really isn't any damage per se at this point in time because there's nobody using it, there's nobody out there, there's no customers yet at this point. We could potentially consider it once somebody opens. That might be a trigger that we wish to discuss, but that would be coming up soon. My understanding is to be right after the first of the year will be where the one owner out there will be in business out there.
My basic concern is if the contract between them and the city had something in there saying that everything would be operable.
Yep.
Other than, and if it isn't operable, then they have to pay
Right.
to get this done. And if it's worded that way, I think we should seriously look at the penalty on that.
We can certainly talk that in more detail and consider whether we wish to do that. I mean, you have to kind of ultimately look at what's the damage that is out there. Is there a damage as it relates to them not performing and not getting something done? Depends if they wish to, drag us into court and discuss those kinds of things, but that's kind of where it gets a little bit of a gray area in those. It's trying to prove, did we lose any costs? And there are things that we probably could do, such as looking at how long they went beyond as it relates to, say, any inspection time, those kinds of things. That would all be, I think, valid. So those are things we can do and look at specific numbers and make sure that we cover ourselves for those kinds of things. And I think that's certainly something we should do. But just doing it on a per day basis probably isn't the best thing for us to do, but look at what we actually spent and was, costs that were incurred and do a penalty as it relates to that.
Okay.
So, but we'll look into that for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns? Okay. Thank you. Move on to action items. 7A, approve resolution 2022-98, establishing 2023 administrative fee schedule.
This is the fee schedule that we look at every year to consider amending recommendations, and you have the complete listing in your packet. All the ones that are highlighted in yellow are the ones that are proposed for changes this year, and the proposed is is highlighted or in bold print, so you can be able to see. There was changes to cost for copies. There was significant number of changes for equipment charges for the public works because it hasn't been done in some time. And then we had some park rental that we're recommending a change to. And then the senior center has some changes. Those are and then ambulance also CPR. So if you want to look through those, if you have any questions, we should be able to answer them for you. Otherwise, these were staff recommendations or board recommendations like the park board.
Okay. I've got a couple, and it's probably more toward Ben. On page 21, it says John Deere 11-foot gang mower. Is there a reason why we're dropping the price? Or, it says $95 an hour and then it's dropped to 80.
It might be a typo, Mayor. It
Okay.
shouldn't be dropping.
So it should stay the same. Or do you want to go
I think
up?
110 is what it should be.
Should be 110?
Yep.
Okay. And then I got another one, traffic control signs, I think it's a typo, it's $7 each per day. Now, we're going to 2.00.00, so is that $20 a day?
Yeah, that should be 20.
$20 a day
Because I had
each?
handwritten these, so the typing might have got.
Okay, so that's $20 each a day, okay. That's the only thing that I know of that I seen.
Right below, in that same traffic control sign, one of them is going from $7 a day to $110 a day
110 each.
each.
Oh, on the 8-foot barricade?
Yep.
Yep. I had that marked too, so.
And same thing with the portable no parking sign.
Yeah, I'm not sure why those say that. I would have to go back in the notes. I think something just got, in the Excel sheet, might have gotten misconstrued when it was
Just
typed. Yeah.
Bump down, okay. So we should leave it at 7 and 3 for right
Yeah,
now?
leave those two at 7 and 3.
Okay. Okay. I don't see anything else. Council have anything other than those? I did just have a question mark on the fire department on the truck call out. It's $200, but we haven't changed anything since 2013. I was just wondering if that,
Which one are you at?
page 23, down at the bottom.
Fire department?
And it's been 9 years, we haven't changed the truck call out, so I'm kind of wondering if that shouldn't have be bumped up, or if that's,
Well, we gave them to the chief, and he didn't come back with a recommendation for any changes,
okay.
so.
Because I know the price of everything went up, so
Yeah.
kind of, I didn't know if Joe had any input on that, or,
And see, those are minimum charges. If our costs go up, it'll be higher than that. That's just the minimum that you get for
Okay.
being called.
okay. All right. Any other questions, comments, changes? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-98, adopting the 2023 fee schedule?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane,
I'll second.
second by Joe. That includes the changes that we went over.
When, waiting on information from specifics on Ben as well, like, that'll be included, like those
We can
adjustments?
amend that
Okay.
when it gets to that, yes. So, call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7B, approve resolution 2022-99, establishing 2023 schedule of penalties.
So these are fees and penalties or fines to the city code. And so this is a separate resolution. The only change we're really proposing this year is actually to add the restricted winter parking ticket that was set by ordinance, but it wasn't included in the fee schedule. So that is the $50 that you have in there. Otherwise, we're not making recommendations for any other changes to the penalties.
Is there any changes that the council wants or questions? No. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2022-99?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Shellen.
I'll
Do I have a
second.
second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7C, approve ordinance 818, establishing 2023 fee schedule for licenses/permits.
This is by ordinance, and again, that is fees for the city, but as you said, these are for licenses. We're recommending the garbage hauler license be increased, and we did include a section on the business subsidy applications, because we didn't have those in the fee schedule itself before, and these kind of reflect what the costs typically are for doing those projects. They also sign that if the costs that we have go over that then they are responsible for paying those. We did add the new license for the cannabinoid applications that are coming in. We've had a couple of those come in so far. And then on the residential and commercial zoning permits, they went up, most of them from $25 to $35. There's one for shoreline alteration permits. It says 500 in there, but it should actually be 250 if you would make that change. That was a recommendation by the Planning Commission.
Questions?
Other than that, those are the recommendations for this ordinance.
Questions, concerns, comments? Or do I have a motion to approve ordinance number 818?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane,
I'll second.
second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approve ordinance 819, authorizing summary publication of ordinance 818.
As you know, under Minnesota statute, we can, in order to save costs, publish a summary of the ordinance versus the whole thing. And so that this ordinance 819 is authorizing summary publication of ordinance 818, which is the fee schedule you just adopted.
Questions? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 819?
Motion to
approve.
Motion by Heidi, second by Joel. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7E, approve board and commission appointments. We'll do some of these, and then one of them, Heidi will take over the meeting for the other one. Park Board, we have 3 positions vacant. Barry Johnson is the only one that has put his name back in. This is getting to the point where we're gonna have to maybe start talking whether or not we're gonna have a park board and the council take over it, or if we combine it with the planning commission.
Yeah.
It'll help on our budget.
Yep.
So, as of right now, I'd recommend Barry to be on. Planning Commission, we got 2 positions open. Barry is the only one that signed on. He's been on the Park Board and the Planning Commission, both now for the last year. So, and I would recommend that he would be on. The next one we'll pass over, that's the one Heidi's gonna take. Airport Commission, we have 2 positions open. We have Mike Bouchard Jr. and Tom Winker. Both put their names back in. I recommend that both of them be appointed. Convention and Visitors Bureau, I spoke to Stephanie Noble. She will be moving out of town as of January 1st, so she is not one that can be appointed. Stacy Michaels has applied. I don't have any issues with Stacy. It's the pure fact that she is also the president of the chamber.
Yeah.
And Pam Borgman's the president of the Visit Sauk Center, and she's on the chamber board, and then we get the chamber president on the Visit Sauk Center board, and they work in the same office. I think it's a conflict of interest, but I'll leave that up to the council to decide. I just think there's one deciding the other one if there's any pay increases. I just don't think it's passes the public viewpoint, but that will be up to you too. So I don't have any recommendation as far as that one. Senior Center Board, we got 3 members to be appointed. 2 people applied, Nancy Kozlakis, which I recommend being put on. Deb Johnson actually lives in Alexandria right now, so she cannot be on the Senior Center Board. Senior Center Board basically is the school district boundaries, and obviously Alexandria is not in our school district boundaries, so Nancy's the only one that I recommend on that one. Centricare, Sauk Center Board, Tim Borgman has got his name back in on that one, so I recommend that placement. So, comments, questions, we can take care of these now, unless the council wants to do it differently, and then I will step down and you can handle or Heidi can take care of the next one.
Chief, can we expand our school district and annex in Alexandria too? Be nice if we could. Okay.
So, what is the council's wishes? I don't know if you got any discussion you want to you got any concerns about park planning, airport, Convention Visitors Bureau?
I think the only one, kind of acknowledging your concern regarding the CVB is that both the CVB and the chamber have their respective boards as well, so I would imagine, and I believe that they each have an agreement, or the board approves if there's a raise given or an adjustment to the budget regarding either of those two positions, not that they're individually accountable to each other, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand what you mean as far as the boards oversee each in personality, but it's just when you have two people working in the same office and that board member is working with this head and that head is working with that board member, to me, it doesn't look right. But it's a give or take.
I guess, speaking as being on that board for the past year, I mean, I don't see any issue. There's been great discussion with the members that are on there about different things, and I don't feel like it's.
Where does that leave us then with the CVB regarding current members? If we're short one, we still have, is it 5? Is there a total of 6 on the CVB, or?
Trying to do math in my head.
It's actually 8
So we still have a decent-sized board without
without
being able to
Stephanie.
fill Stephanie's position.
Right. And
But-
it doesn't have, the way Vicky and I read it the other day when we went over this, it doesn't have to be a representative of a hotel.
Right.
That got changed. So basically, anybody that's in the hospitality business could come in and be on the board.
Yeah.
So, but we can handle that when we get one person that wants to go on it.
I personally feel comfortable keeping Stacy on.
I agree.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
That's fine. I just, you know me well enough, I state my opinion.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
The council, who wants to make
I'll make a motion.
okay? Motion to accept the nominees that I did.
That you did, yes.
Including Stacy.
Including Stacy, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shallen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. And at this point, I will hand the gavel over to Heidi, and I will go sit in the audience until you guys decide the next one.
No, I'm fine.
Gee, I don't know about this one.
So the last board appointment would be for the position, 2 positions for each a 3-year term on the Public Utilities Commission. The 3 who have submitted are Wayne Senst, John Egan, and Warren Stone. Both Wayne and John have previously served. I believe we all received their applications with reasoning.
Yeah.
I would personally like to appoint Wayne Senst and Warren Stone to those 2 positions, but I'm open to discussion from the board, council.
I guess I'm looking at, we've got our boards here and we're struggling to find community members that want to serve. And here we've got 2 that have been on the board, are still willing to serve. I know Warren's community member can apply for that as well, but, he's serving his role in the council capacity and stuff, doing that civic duty there. And we have these folks that are willing to continue to contribute to the Public Utility Commission. So I'd be looking at Wayne and John here.
Okay.
I have no problem with all 3 of them, so.
Has it been a historical thing where there has been a council representative on that board, Vicky, or?
It doesn't require a council representative, but we have oftentimes in the past having someone that serves in both
Yeah.
functions, that serves on the council and also serves on that board. It's been a few years since that's been the case.
Councilmember Thomas was the last one who served on that position, and I believe
Correct.
he was in that, at least the length that I was serving on council, so 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
So was it one of the spots that are currently on that board, or was it an extra position for a council?
No, it was one of the existing, it wasn't, there's not one set aside for a council member, but there's no restriction from having a council member being one of the
Got it.
people.
I think my interest in having Warren serve is for the fact that when we hear from the other boards throughout our meetings, Public Utilities is usually one that we don't hear from. So having an ear on the ground in that respect is, I think, of benefit to us with these capital improvement projects, being able to answer personally to the board discussions, bringing that back to the council with the knowledge of what's happening over there is, I think, it behooves us to have that, but
I guess I do see the value in having a representative from the council on that board as well.
and I'm not saying this as personally anything against, John myself. I know that he's served for years as an employee of Public Utilities. I think Wayne has proved himself to be a valuable person, community member at large, and I think that only benefits a board that's well-rounded, having multiple perspectives. And that's my 2 cents, if you will. So I guess we will put it, if I can, I'd like to make a motion and see if the motion stands for Warren and Wayne to be appointed to the two-year position. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion by myself, a second by Shallen. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Split.
2 in favor, 2 opposed. Is there another motion?
I'll make
Can
a
we have
motion.
that if it's going to be split?
I'll make a motion that we accept all 3 of them.
I don't believe we
There's only
can.
2 positions open.
Oh, there's only 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'd rather go with your motion originally, Heidi, then. If we can only appoint 2 of them, let's appoint Wayne and Warren.
So you'd like to
I want to reverse my vote on that last one.
do we need to restate the motion?
So you can vote, you two can vote to repeal that last one and then reconsider it.
Would you like to
What,
repeal?
I'm confused about what we're doing now.
I vote to repeal, I motion to repeal the last decision.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I will make another motion to approve Warren and Wayne as the 2 positions towards the Public Utilities Board.
I'll second.
Motion by myself, second by Shallen. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
3 in favor, 1 against. Motion carries. We need you up here.
Yeah. Bang the gravel, quick. That's what he did to me that time. Let's see him run.
Okay, 7F, approve resolution 2022-100 authorizing sale of excess property.
So at the November 2nd meeting, the council declared the fire department's 1990 Chevy or 3500 as excess equipment and authorized it be advertised for sale. We also advertised for sale other excess equipment, small value equipment. The vehicle and these other items were advertised online with MinMed. The auction was closed with the following results. We sold the 1990 Chevrolet 3500 for $17,775. Blade sharpener for $265, combination fuel tank for $135, excess boiler equipment for $115, and an Onan 4K generator for $262. Those are kind of items that we're no longer using and were basically scrapped as far as the city wasn't using them anymore. So I'm looking to approve resolution 2022-100 authorizing the sale of the excess vehicle and equipment.
Comments, questions? Now, the sale is this, does this go back to the various departments?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a motion by Diane to approve. Resolution 2022-100. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shallen. Any other questions? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7G, approve resolution 2022-101, declaring property excess and advertising for sale.
The city police department has a 2015 Ford Interceptor. It's the Taurus model squad car that's been retired. The department wishes to sell the car to the highest bidder. The intent is to advertise online through MinBid. This car is not a forfeiture vehicle, so the funds can be used for any lawful purpose. So we're looking to approve resolution 2022-101, declaring property as excess and advertising it for sale.
Questions?
It's really a nice car, very low mileage, rarely driven.
Do we have a motion to approve resolution 2022-101?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Joe, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7H, consider waiver of invoice Creamery sidewalk repair.
The city, as part of our annual sidewalk inspections process, we contracted to have sidewalks inspected, including those on Main Street. As a result, repairs were needed adjacent to the old Creamery building, which is currently owned by the Sauk Center Historical Society. Those repairs were completed at the direction of the city, and an invoice was sent to the Historical Society. Representatives of the Historical Society have requested that the City Council consider including those costs as city share and relieve the society of the expense. The invoice is for $675. So the request before you is to consider including the Historical Society sidewalk repair expense as part of the city cost.
Questions, concerns?
Is this something we've done in the past for others requesting such a?
No?
Nice try.
I was just asking.
I know. Anyone?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question as Shallen. I think if we waive it, we're opening a precedent, to other nonprofits that are going to be along our city streets and stuff. If we start waiving this now. So I think it's just a cost of property ownership.
I agree with
Yeah.
Joe. Absolutely. Good point.
Basically, what I was gonna say, is you did good. So, someone wanna make a motion, or you
I'll
wanna
make-
discuss it more?
I'll make a motion, we deny it.
Okay, we have a motion to deny the request by Diane. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7I, consider payment of invoice arena mural paint.
So the mural at the arena has been completed, as you know. The city, in advance of the project, we completed several repairs, and it was, the city was going to get all the prepping done, and then they were going to come and paint the mural. So we did the caulking for the seams, $750, the labor, the lift rental, and the washing the building. So you'll see that we had $750 for caulking, labor $1,440, lift rental $350, and washing the building with a fire truck for $100. So Artify has requested that the city cover the cost of the priming of the building, which that cost of the paint was $431.52. And they're asking that we request that kind of as our prep of the building versus the part of the mural. So that is the request of Artify, is that the city cover the cost of the primer for the arena mural project, $431.52.
Comments? Concerns?
Kind of similar to our last request, I feel like this was a project thought of by a group that we did our share by the prep work. I've not considered priming a building that didn't need to be primed unless it were to be painted, part of prep. So I don't feel it should be under our cost to cover.
Was there an extra section that wasn't painted that we did pay to have painted, or am I misremembering
It's
that?
only primed to the end of the mural, and then it's not primed beyond that.
Okay.
Joel, got anything? Diane?
I guess my question was the understanding of, you know, who was covering what when it was planned. So I think you kind of covered that we did all the prep work, which outlined these costs. So this would have fallen under the expectation was that was their cost.
I guess that was ours as staff's expectation.
At the front end.
We were gonna get it washed and get it cleaned up and get the seams taken care of, and then turn it over to them.
Yep, I agree.
One of the things is if you look at them dollar figures there for just getting it prepped, I think
2,500.
that's a large enough for an
Yeah.
in-kind service on the city's part.
Exactly.
Plus, it also, I know it's only 2022, but the council kind of made it clear that we're going to start riding tight on our budget and not do any of these extras, so we might as well start now.
Yep.
Is the way I look at it. So I agree with the rest of the council that we're not going to pay for that.
Yeah,
I guess the only consideration I would have is, I mean, it's a good group who's done a lot of quality things around town. Even just saying maybe it was a misunderstanding, maybe they were expecting us to, that was as part of the prep, and we weren't doing that. So maybe even just the potential of splitting the cost with them, I guess that might be something to show, hey, we're trying to make sure that.
One of the things is, yeah, it's a real good group and everything, but so is the one that we just said no to on the sidewalk.
I agree. Like I said, I think where the difference is, I could envision where priming cost would be part of some of that prep work. I can understand where maybe they had that expectation, and if they had certain grant monies that they had for this project, and this was over and above that amount, I could see where that could be interpreted that way.
Right. It all depends on how much reading between the lines we really want to do.
Yeah. Well, I agree, Shalyn, that could be considered a prep of, you know, preparing it so it's ready to paint, you know, the mural. You know, the other thing that would be on this one compared to the other ones, it is a city building that they improved for us, I guess, a little bit, so.
and we've already pumped $2,640 into this project.
Well, what's the council's wishes? Or do you want to discuss some more?
I'll make a motion to deny it.
Okay, we have a motion by Diane to deny the request. Do we have a second? Chair will second it. Any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 3 in favor, 2 against. 7J, consider appeal of charges, CL Excavating.
So this is the appeal, and Jason spoke to you in the open forum. They were penalized 4 days, which is $6,000 for work done after the deadline for the Second Street Hickman project. And they had requested to reduce that penalty to 2 days, and you do have in your packet the appeal, the information that they gave us, and also the response from our city engineer, and he'll be here to answer any questions that you have. Chuck, you want to take that?
Good evening, council and Mr. Mayor. As part of the project contract with CNL, there was a 25-day working requirement for Phase 3 completion. During that work, it was completed 4 days past that requirement. So the city is currently charging for those 4 days of noncompliance. The city has the options to reduce the 4 days to 2 days based on CNL's request. They're claiming 2 rain days, or they have the option to deny that request. 2 options on the table for you.
Okay. Council heard statements from the representatives from CNL, and we've have Chuck here. Anyone got any comments, concerns?
I guess, the comments made where he acknowledged they were late, is asking us to reduce this, but did admit they were late. I think we observed the progress on that project, throughout the summer, and, seeing there was a lot of non-working days out there that I observed, obviously driving that road every day to work. And, I think, abide by the contract. These was the agreement. We expect weather to be, volatile in Minnesota. I think there's no reason to make a reduction here.
I agree with Joe.
Any other comments?
One from, I guess to me, the part that jumps out, especially from Chuck's summary, is that there were 10 days that could have been done. So we're singling out one or couple rain days. It's hard for me to justify when there were that many days that work wasn't done.
And that's one of the things that I noticed too, is the statement is, there's about 15 days out of the 25-day period that no work was done. So that even if two of them are rain days, you're still looking at 13 days that could have happened. And the whole project was a lot of, well, they didn't show up and they didn't show up and we put up with a lot. Not that that means should have anything to say about this, but the pure fact is there was 10 days that nothing happened. So does someone have a motion or then one more discussion?
I'll make a motion, we deny the request for reduction.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Joe to deny the request for deduction, seconded by Diane. Any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7K, consider appeal, American Legion.
So this is the special assessment for Park Road for the American Legion, and Scott Kelsey spoke to that in the open forum. They were assessed 166 feet of frontage on Park Road. They do have multiple frontages, and so if we had applied the corner setback or the corner side lot line, they would get that first 150 feet off, and so we were looking at a 16-foot assessment. He spoke earlier and doesn't believe that they have frontage on Park Road. A little history on that. That used to be the railroad. There is lots and blocks all the way from Second Street all the way up to where First Street is by the mill. So on the park on that side of Main Street, it's lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up. The railroad came through on lot 4. And so when we got the land from the railroad, 4 and part of lot 3, we sold 33 feet of lot 3 and 16 feet of lot 4 to the Legion for their parking lot. So their parking lot goes right to their edge of their property line, and everything north of their parking lot to the physical road is owned by the city. We treat it as a boulevard. The trail goes through there, albeit it is wider than a normal boulevard. The reason I'm saying we treat it that way was because in 1992, when Park Road was put there and they did put in the curb and gutter, there was an assessment to the Legion for that. And they signed a waiver of that assessment, and that is the time then in part of that exchange that they received that land. So it was like a land, they got the assessment, they paid the assessment, but then that was also, part of that was the land deal to buy that. So we have some history that that was considered that way. Now, I understand him saying there's no platted road right away, because there isn't. We acknowledge that. It was the railroad. It was a lot and a block. We just built the road through the lots. The reason that the road goes so far away is because of the power line. We had to go around the power line to connect onto Main Street. So we looked at the 166 foot of frontage. We thought there'd be an option to go 16 feet to do a corner side, and of course your other option is not to assess them at all, if you want to consider that not a corner. And so that's what you have in front of you tonight is those options.
Concerns? Comments?
What's their assessment going to be with the 16-foot versus the original
It's like
assessment?
$400 and some change,
Okay. What was the original amount?
$4,400. I think it was $4,400.
Do we have other properties that have similar, frontages or something like that because of the railroad and the way things were done?
Well, the
in
one
city that we're aware
right
of?
behind them got like the one that's back to back
Mhm.
on Oak Street. His assessment was on Oak Street because that was his front.
Okay,
And then he has that corner side.
he does, okay.
So this one was a little bit different because it's not commercial, but it's not residential. I guess it is considered in a commercial zoning district, which typically would not get the corner setback variance.
Any other
This
comments?
one's an odd one, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments? Finance Committee did look, and then we reduced it to the 16 feet. I guess the main thing is whether or not you consider that 50-foot wide stretch from their property line out to Park Road a boulevard.
Yeah, on the Main Street end of their parking lot, it's like 49 feet to the curb, and on the back end or the west end of their parking lot, it's like 29 feet to the curb. So yes, a boulevard is typically about 13 to 15 feet.
Right, because normally the property line is at the back of a sidewalk, and then we still assess for the street, even though there's 13 feet between the property line and the curb. In this case, you're looking at 4 times that amount. So, do we consider that a boulevard, or do we say that's city property and is butting up against us?
What was the recommendation of planning and zoning?
Well, Finance Committee looked at it and said
Okay.
reduce it down from 166 to 16 feet.
Okay,
But they also do, when Second Street gets redone and Main Street gets done, they're gonna have assessments on that side too, coming up.
Yeah.
So, my opinion, 'cause it's such a gray area as far as whether that's a boulevard or not.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be seeing other assessments that will be butting up against property lines. That extra $400, I don't know, I think, my opinion is we just waive it
I agree.
and just not assess them.
I can understand that justification.
Yeah, I mean, I'd look at it, I mean, we do own the property that runs along
Yeah.
there, and I would
We
say,
maintain it, we take care of the sidewalk, we
Right.
mow the
Yep.
grass
You know, the
and
fact we-
everything, and it's 50 feet wide.
Yep.
You know, if it was a standard 13 feet boulevard and it was up again, I can see that changing. But in this case, since it's one of them anomalies that is out there, that's the way I'm feeling, but you guys make the motions and the decisions and
I'll make the motion.
to,
Go to 16 feet. Isn't that
well,
what
it is at 16.
Oh,
Well,
Oh, yeah.
we
okay.
went to 16 feet. You're gonna leave it at 16 feet or waive it totally?
Waive it totally.
Okay, we have a motion by Diane to waive the assessment totally. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shellen. Any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7L, liquor license revocation, historic broken bar stool.
So the historic Broken Bar Stool, which is formerly the Corner Bar, was sent notice that its liquor license was subject to revocation due to lapse of liquor liability insurance. In addition, due to a change in the company, the license holder is no longer with the bar. Notification was sent that a transfer of liquor license needed to be accomplished. The owner of the building has since shut down the bar due to concerns with the lapse of the insurance. The owner of the building and the owner of the bar are two separate parties. The bar owner is no longer operating, however, has not had any contact with the city regarding a potential reopening in the future. The city council can revoke the license, and any new license in a new name would need to be applied for and granted prior to opening. If your council chooses not to revoke the license, it should at a minimum be suspended until a transfer or new license makes application and is granted the license, which would require the insurance as well. So what you have in front of you is either a revocation of the license or a suspension of the license, either way, until everything is back with the city. And since this time, I think the word has come that he's not going to ever open again, but I don't know that. We haven't heard that officially.
Comments? Questions?
Can you just clarify what's the difference between, I mean, to me, revoking and suspending seem
Revoking is you pull it, cancel it, it's done. Suspending it, you're on ice until you bring everything in.
So what would the benefit be to revoking rather than just suspending it?
Just the process of putting it back in place. It's a new license again if you revoke it, and if you suspend it, you can just pick up where you left off as long as you have all the paperwork in.
Would a suspension keep it from having a transfer of sale? Would a transfer of sale be able to automatically pick up that suspension?
I don't know the answer to that question, so I'll have to find that out.
The one thing about the suspension, I think, is, you can pick it up from where left off, but if there's any certain amount of time frame from point A to point B, a lot of things could happen, and there's a certain amount of investigation, but I'd like to start all over with it, just revoke it and be done with it, and then whoever comes walking in, then the police department does their
Right.
job,
Yeah.
and everything else is up front, because a lot of things can happen between point A and point B
Right.
in a time period.
And
And
the
if we just-
transfer, like, I guess when you were talking about a transfer, typically when there's a transfer of a liquor license, the liquor license fee that was paid on July 1st for a year it worked out between the buyer and seller and it just transfers. If you revoke it, it's a new license starting over. So then there's gonna be the new fees. So the new person, if there was a transfer coming, it's gonna probably cost them more because they're gonna have to buy a whole license versus just working out with the seller to take over the balance of theirs. So that's kind of the difference. It's
Yeah.
more on the new owner than it is on the city.
Right.
But to do a suspension until it gets transferred,
I think it's kind of we're taking on the liability of something happening in the meantime.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
Me too.
So, do we
yeah.
have a motion?
Make a motion to revoke it.
Okay, we have a motion by Diane to revoke the license. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Joe. Any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approved pay request number 8, CNL Excavating, Second Street Project.
This is the 8th pay application from CNL Excavating for the 2022 street project, which is Second Street. Work completed to date, $3,943,257.54. The amount that's due with this pay request is $102,863.96. That's what we're looking for, is to approve that pay request number 8 to CNL Excavating in that amount.
Questions, concerns?
You want to restate that? It was $102,000, not $102, right? Okay.
$102,863.96.
I was hearing it but not seeing that number, and I'm going, okay, got it.
Sorry.
Do I have a motion to approve the pay request number 8 to CNL Excavating?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. We have no unfinished business. We have no new business. Get to my page. Brings us to our consent agenda. Schedule of claims, unpaid claims of $159,493.67 for the total of the same. And November checks, paid claims / payroll of $1,333,120.42. We have a gambling application for exempt permit request from Center Mat Wrestling for bingo on February 17th, 2023 at the American Legion Post 67. Do we have any questions about the consent agenda? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do we have a second?
Oh, second.
Second by Shellen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Informational items.
I just have one informational item. We do have Officer Grabmeyer who will be advancing to his next step in the next few days, actually. So that's by the union contract, so I just have to report it as an informational item.
Okay. No questions about that. This brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.